We showed you how much we value your hard work while you were on the clock. Nora Pike, my director at Harbor Frost Cyberwatch, said it into a microphone as if it belonged on a monument. People clapped with the careful enthusiasm of employees who have rent due. My name is Mark Ellis. I am 46. I work nights in Central Texas, guarding bank networks while most people sleep. The meeting was called the Merit Lift Showcase. The slides had a sunrise background. The message was pure midnight. Afterward, Nora delivered raise numbers in private calls, the way a dentist delivers bad news while smiling. Tyler Crane got his call first. Tyler was 30, day shift lead, and famous for staying calm as long as nothing moved. He posted a screenshot like he had won a county fair ribbon. Raise for Tyler, $37,000 plus a new title. He wrote, "They finally see the impact." I reread it twice. My impact apparently was invisible because it happened at 2 a.m. Then Nora called me on video. Pearls, perfect lighting, and the smile of someone offering a coupon for a problem she created. "Mark, you have been a stabilizing force," she said. "We appreciate your dedication." I waited for the part where appreciation became arithmetic. "Our budget is focused on visible contributions during core hours," she continued. "But we did not forget you. We showed you how much we value your hard work while you are on the clock." My raise was $6,500. $6,500. After years of patching what nobody wanted to acknowledge, after catching the multi-client credential wave last winter, after training new hires who thought a firewall was a fireplace. I said, "Understood," because Hope had just received an eviction notice. That night I started my shift at 10 p.m. My office was 2 monitors and 1 battered keyboard. My mug said, "World Okayest Incident Responder." Harbor Frost monitored a bank called Meadow Branch Savings. Meadow Branch had customers with retirement accounts and habits like reusing passwords. At 12:47 a.m., my dashboard flashed red. Login failures. Thousands of them. Then a pattern emerged, clean and ugly. The traffic hopped through proxies, but the rhythm was familiar. A Romanian crew. New disguise, old hands. I tagged the incident, pulled the logs, and started blocking. Tyler messaged from day shift. "Seeing noise on Meadow Branch. Anything real?" "Real," I typed. "Coordinated credential stuffing." He replied with a thumbs up. A single emoji, the corporate version of leaving a tip in pennies. At 2:58 a.m., the attackers changed tactics. They slowed the customer logins and began probing the administrator portal, where reset tokens lived and locks could be removed with one click. My fingers hovered over the escalation tree. Wake Nora. Wake the incident response team. Spend hours translating danger into polite language. Then I glanced at the time. 2:59 a.m. My shift ended at 3 a.m. At 2:59 a.m., I saved my notes. At 3 a.m., I clicked clock out. At 3:01 a.m., my personal phone buzzed. Harbor Frost had installed a helpful alert mirror for engaged leaders. The notification read, "Meadow Branch Admin Portal Anomaly, Urgent." I stared at it and heard Nora again. "We value your hard work while you are on the clock." On the clock, I was an asset. Off the clock, I was a free service plan. I set the phone face down, unplugged my headset, and walked to the kitchen. I poured water like I was celebrating a small victory. At 3:22 a.m., my work chat erupted. "Mark, are you there? Need you now. Call immediately." I did not answer. I had already been told when my value existed, and I was determined to follow instructions with perfect obedience, strictly on the clock. I woke to a voicemail from Nora that sounded like a fire alarm wearing lipstick. I did not return it. I had clocked out, and apparently that was the new religion. By mid-morning, an invite hit my calendar. Urgent alignment. Nothing says stability like a meeting named after a car accident. I joined because revenge is easier when you let people speak first. Nora appeared on camera, pearls glowing like tiny warning lights. Tyler was there too, pale and jittery, the way a confident man looks when he realizes confidence is not a skill. Nora started with a practiced calm. "Mark, you were unreachable during a critical incident." "I was reachable during my shift," I said. Tyler leaned in. "The bank was getting hammered. We needed you." I paused, then repeated Nora line with the careful clarity of a courtroom witness. We showed you how much we value your hard work while you are on the clock. Nora blinked. That was about compensation. It was also about expectations, I said. You value my work while I am on the clock. Off the clock is not work time. Her smile tightened. This is a salaried position. Then treat it like one, I said. Staff nights properly. Pay for on-call. Stop pretending emergencies only happen between 9 and 5. Tyler tried to sound noble. So you just let it happen? No, I said. I went to bed. That is what people do when they are not working. Nora shifted into the softer voice managers use when they want something they did not budget for. What do you want? I had 3 answers. Fairness, boundaries, consequences. I want an on-call stipend if you expect off-hours response, I said. I want my pay aligned with my workload, and I want the gap explained in writing. Tyler made a small noise, like a man dropping his pride on a hardwood floor. Nora gave a short laugh. Let us not make this personal. It is personal, I said. Rent is personal. Sleep is personal. The bank customers whose accounts were targeted last night would like it to stay personal too. Nora ended the call with a promise to review options, which is corporate for, we will try to outlast your backbone. Within an hour, Human Resources joined the email thread. That told me everything. They were not fixing the problem. They were building a shield. So I built mine. Not sabotage. Evidence. I pulled 18 months of incident records. Anything that happened after midnight had my fingerprints on it. I exported logs showing I was the one blocking IP ranges, closing tickets, and writing emergency scripts while Tyler asked questions from the safety of daylight. I saved chat messages where he wrote, "Can you take this?" and where Nora wrote, "Thank you for always being there." I grabbed screenshots of the alert mirror policy that pushed after hours notifications to personal phones while pretending it was optional. At noon, Meadow Branch Savings sent a formal complaint. Their customer portal survived, but the administrator portal had been touched. Harbor Frost claimed it was contained. Meadow Branch asked the only question that mattered, who contained it? Nora forwarded the complaint to our team with a note. We need to be proactive. Proactive, in her language, meant the same people should fix the same mess without asking new questions. At 2:10 p.m., Tyler called me directly. No camera, no emojis, just desperation. Mark, they are asking me to explain the response gaps, he said. I cannot. That is rough, I said, but they finally see the impact. He went silent. Then, are you trying to ruin me? I am trying to do my job, I said, while I am on the clock. I hung up and opened my resume for the first time in years. I wrote down what I actually did, not what Harbor Frost advertised. Then I created a folder on my desktop, clock only. Inside, I placed every receipt I had ever earned in the dark. 2 days later, Harbor Frost tried the classic play, flattery with a side of guilt. Nora scheduled a career path discussion at 4 p.m., a time chosen to collide with my sleep schedule like a shopping cart in a narrow aisle. We cannot deny your expertise, she began. We want to invest in you. Invest was her favorite word for please stay cheap. She offered a one-time recognition award of $1,000 and a promise to revisit compensation next quarter. Next quarter is where problems go when leadership wants them to disappear. No, I said. Nora blinked. No? If you want me available after 3 a.m., you can pay for availability after 3 a.m. Otherwise, you can value my work while I am on the clock, just like you said. Her smile hardened. This is becoming insubordinate. It is becoming specific, I said. An hour later, an email arrived. Performance expectations. It was long, vague, and soaked in legal perfume. I forwarded it to my personal email and dropped it into my folder. Clock only. That night, the Romanian crew returned to Meadow Branch Savings. They skipped the obvious door and tried a side entrance, the bank help desk tool that could trigger password resets. It was clever, and it was exactly the kind of trick that works when defenders are tired. From 11:30 p.m. to 2:59 a.m., I did my job. I blocked IP ranges. I enforced temporary controls on remote resets. I documented everything with timestamps and wrote a final note. Next actions require incident commander approval. At 3 a.m., I clocked out. At 3:07 a.m., the alert mirror screamed on my personal phone. I let it scream. I brushed my teeth. I went to bed. By morning, Harbor Frost had contained the mess the hard way. Panic calls, confused handoffs, and a 4-hour lock on Meadow Branch administrator functions. Customers could not get password resets. Executives could not pretend everything was fine. Nora sent a polished company-wide email about successful containment. She left out the part where Meadow Branch threatened to review their contract, and the part where Tyler answered technical questions with the verbal equivalent of shrugging. At 9 a.m., my phone rang. Not Nora, not Tyler, a recruiter named Elise Harmon. "I am calling about your work," she said. "People talk, especially after a night like that." Elise represented Northline FinSecure, a larger firm with a real incident command rotation and an on-call policy that included money. The salary range made my Harbor Frost raise look like spare change in a couch. I scheduled an interview for Friday. At noon, Harbor Frost HR sent me a meeting invite titled Clarification of Responsibilities. I accepted, because I enjoy watching people attempt to edit a story that has already been printed. HR was Grant Weller, cheerful in the way a dentist can be cheerful. "Mark," he said, "there seems to be confusion about after-hours expectations." "There is no confusion," I replied. "Nora told me exactly when you value my work." Grant glanced at Nora. Nora glanced at Tyler. Tyler stared at his camera like it might offer mercy. Nora tried to sound warm. "We are a high-trust culture." "Then trust me," I said. "I will do my job while I am on the clock." Grant clasped his hands. "We need continuity for our clients." "Continuity costs money," I said. "Discount labor causes discontinuity." Nora leaned forward. "Are you threatening to leave?" I smiled, calm and bright. "I am not threatening. I am planning." After the call, I opened Clock Only and added another file, the meeting transcript I had typed in real time. Then I went back to my shift, did exactly what my contract paid for, and nothing more. Because my revenge was not loud, it was precise, and it had a schedule. Friday arrived with 2 meetings and 1 quiet decision. My interview with Northline FinSecure felt less like an interview and more like a sanity check. They asked how I handled incidents. I described reality. Attackers pivot, night coverage breaks when it depends on one person, and loyalty is not the same as availability. The hiring manager, Sana Dorsey, nodded. "We do not want heroes," she said. "We want systems." That sentence alone was worth more than my Harbor Frost raise. Later that day, Nora pulled me into a client call with Meadow Branch Savings. Tyler joined too, eyes wide, like a man hoping someone else would answer the hard questions. Meadow Branch CIO. Calvin Reese opened with one simple line. "Who was responsible for containment Wednesday night?" Nora launched into a speech about teamwork. Calvin cut it off. "I want a name." Silence. Tyler stared at his keyboard. Nora tried to smile her way out of it. I kept my voice calm. During my scheduled shift, I implemented blocks and temporary controls. At 3 a.m., my shift ended and I clocked out. After that point, Harbor Frost leadership managed response. Nora shot me a look sharp enough to shave with. Calvin leaned closer. "Do you have an incident commander on nights?" Nora hesitated, and that hesitation answered him better than any words. Calvin nodded once. "We will request an independent review." After the call, Nora messaged me. "Why would you say it like that?" "Because that is how it happened," I replied. She wrote, "We needed a united front." I typed, "You needed a plan." An hour later, Elise the recruiter called. Northline offered me the role, night operations architect, with real pay and an on-call rotation that paid for interruptions. I accepted. Then I wrote my resignation to Harbor Frost. 2 paragraphs. No anger, just facts. Last shift date and a single sentence. Misalignment between responsibilities and compensation. Nora replied within minutes. "We can discuss adjustments." HR asked for transition support. I answered both the same way. "I will provide handoff documentation during my remaining scheduled shifts." At 10:05 p.m., my phone rang from an unknown Texas number. It was Calvin Reese. "Mark," he said, "I am going to be direct. We do not trust Harbor Frost right now. We need someone who understands what happened." I felt a clean satisfaction settle in my chest. This was not sabotage. This was the market correcting a lie. "I can help," I said, "but not as a Harbor Frost employee." Calvin did not argue. "Send terms." I sent a simple consulting agreement under my own name, Ellis Night Shield, clear scope, hourly rate, and no after-hours work without written approval and a premium. Calvin signed within the hour. The next morning, Grant from HR tried a different pressure point. He reminded me about confidentiality and protecting the brand. I reminded him that a brand is not a firewall and truth is not a breach. By lunch, Harbor Frost Finance emailed the whole department about budget discipline, which was hilarious timing, like yelling about calories while the kitchen burns. Nora did not hear about my contract from me. She heard it from Meadow Branch Legal because the bank requested logs and post-incident analysis through a third party. By afternoon, Nora emailed me 3 times, each one shorter. "Are you consulting for them? This is disloyal. Call me now." I replied once. "I work for whoever hires me, with clear terms, and only while I am on the clock." The next week, Meadow Branch terminated their Harbor Frost contract with a polite letter that read like a funeral program. Harbor Frost leadership panicked. Tyler panicked louder. And my folder, Clock Only, stopped feeling like a shield. It started feeling like leverage. Leverage is a funny thing. It does not shout. It just sits there, heavy, until someone finally notices they have been standing on thin ice. Meadow Branch hired me for a 2-week review. I gave them what they asked for: a timeline, a set of fixes, and a plain language explanation of why Harbor Frost kept failing at night. It was not because the night team was lazy. It was because leadership treated night work like a cheap accessory instead of the core product. Calvin sent my report to Meadow Branch Board, their insurer, and their outside counsel. That was his job. Their risk people needed answers. Those answers, apparently, made travel plans. 2 weeks later, Harbor Frost announced an operational excellence audit. The audit team included people from finance, compliance, and a consultant who sounded like he had never seen a log file in his life. They did not start with servers. They started with pay records, staffing plans, and incident timelines. Nora scheduled a meeting with me, last minute, during my shift. Her camera came on and her smile was missing. "Mark," she said, "Meadow Branch is claiming we lacked adequate night leadership." "They are correct," I said. She exhaled, sharp. "You are fueling this." "I am describing it," I said. "There is a difference. One starts fires, the other points at smoke." Nora tried to threaten me with policy. I countered with facts. She tried to imply I was disloyal. I reminded her that she had taught me exactly how loyalty worked at Harbor Frost. "While you are on the clock." The audit moved fast after that. It is amazing what happens when a company risks losing more contracts. Suddenly, people can find time to read documents. Suddenly, executives can remember who solved what. They discovered that night shift performance ratings were capped. They discovered that on-call expectations existed everywhere except in writing. They discovered that Tyler had received a raise based on visible leadership, while his incident notes read like a shopping list. Ask Mark, wait. Ask Mark again. 3 days before my final Harbor Frost shift, an email hit the company directory update feed. Nora Pike, Director of Security Operations, no longer listed. The official line was, "Pursuing other opportunities." The unofficial line was simpler. The audit did not like her math. Tyler lasted longer because companies love keeping a lesson nearby. He was moved to a daytime support role and stripped of his title. He posted one last message in the team chat, trying to sound upbeat. Nobody replied, not even the thumbs up emoji. On my last night, I did a professional handoff. I wrote clean documentation. I handed over my access. I did not delete anything. I did not have to. The problems were never hidden. They were just ignored. At 3 a.m., I clocked out for the last time, not in anger, but in relief. Then I turned off the alert mirror on my personal phone. It felt like removing a tight collar. Northline FinSecure started me the following Monday on a day schedule for the first time in years. I walked into an office that had a night rotation an incident commander list, and a culture that treated sleep like a requirement, not a weakness. My daughter, Lena, noticed the change before anyone else. She is in her first year of nursing school, and she studies later than I ever did. One night she texted me at midnight, "Are you awake?" I replied, "No, I am off the clock." She sent back a laughing emoji and then, "Proud of you." That was the real revenge, not the audit, not Nora vanishing from the directory, not Tyler discovering that confidence does not block an attack. The real revenge was realizing I did not have to be exhausted to be valuable. Harbor Frost wanted my loyalty at a discount. They got my boundaries instead. And once they learned what a night without me cost, the price of my time stopped being negotiable.